Hello everyone, Kylie Brownfield from the Mindful Clinic. I'm here to do day 8 of my 28-day vlogging challenge. I hope you're not all getting sick of me by now. If you are, just unfollow for the month and then hopefully re-engage. The topic I wanted to talk to you about today was inspired by a few messages that I got after my vlog that I did on communication styles, negative communication styles in relationships. And in particular, people asking about the contempt aspect of their relationship, wondering whether that was emotional abuse. And it's really difficult to respond to people one-on-one when you don't really know the situation. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about abuse, emotional abuse in a relationship, and the techniques that may be used and how you can identify what's going on. This is a real passion of mine, and I work with lots of women and some men as well on recognizing emotional abuse in a relationship and healing from that abuse afterwards, particularly relationships with people with narcissistic personality disorder or signs of sociopathy or psychopathy even. So I'm just going to go through a few techniques that could potentially be used on you. And the literature sort of talks a little bit about victims or targets or survivors. I don't know, I tend to prefer referring to people as targets, because target almost gives you the idea that, you know, you can move and escape, and also you can sort of look within yourself as to why you might be a target and how you can avoid that potentially in the future. Victim, yeah, maybe. Survivor, hard, because some people are still already in a relationship that's emotionally abusive. Anyway, I'll refer to them as targets today. But the emotionally abusive techniques that I wanted to talk about are triangulation, projection, targeting vulnerabilities, gaslighting, which is a biggie, contempt and criticism. I won't talk about today because I already covered that in a previous vlog. Pity play, flick switch, and habitual lying. So there's a lot to get through today, so it might be a bit longer than normal, but I'll go as quick as I can. Triangulation, so essentially, as it sounds, it's basically playing you off against another person and then blaming you for reacting. So it can range from being quite subtle to extremely overt. Projection is another abuse strategy that people use, and that is when people attribute their negative traits to you. So you might have a partner that says, "Oh my gosh, you're so lazy," or "you're so selfish," when really that's a trait that they hold themselves. And then when you hear someone say, "Oh, you're so selfish, maybe you should do more around the house," then you end up doing more around the house because you want to make yourself feel better. So you respond by doing more, and then they get rewarded for projecting their stuff onto you. Targeting vulnerabilities is another one, and that's quite an interesting one. Generally, abusers will do that by future faking. So they will come up with something that they will know that you really, really want. So let's say that you really want a family. They might say stuff like, "Oh, when we have kids," or they'll drop things into the conversation that kind of make you go, "Oh, okay, maybe this is the person that I want." So they really target your vulnerabilities. Other examples, I can't think of any right now. I'll come back to that. So gaslighting is another one. It's a term from a movie from the 1940s, I think. I haven't actually seen the movie, but I've heard about it. And the movie's called Gaslight. Gaslighting is where manipulation techniques are used to make you question your own sanity. And it happens really subtly at first, and then you start to second guess your own mental health and whether you're kind of going a bit crazy. I had a really good example that this person would be quite happy for me to share. Obviously, I won't mention any names, but this woman closed the ranch slider door. Her and her partner were sitting in the lounge. She closed the ranch slider door. It was getting a bit cold, and then she walked out of the room. And as she was out of the room, she actually heard her partner open the ranch slider again. And then she came back into the room, and it obviously was open, so she said, oh, can I close this? Like, it's really cold. No, sorry, her partner said to her, can you close the ranch slider? It's really cold. And she said, yeah, I thought I already closed it. And then the partner kind of responded by saying, oh gosh, you're going crazy, you know, you're really losing the plot. So really doing things to kind of make her seem like she was going crazy. And so we worked through that. Contempt and criticism, what I talked about the other day. Pity play is a big one. And we usually see this when the abuser or the narcissist is feeling threatened. They might sort of give you a little bit of information that makes you feel sorry for them or draws out your empathy, and they get very rewarded by that. And then it tends to bond you closer to them as well. Flick switch is another strange one. So flick switch deals with, say someone can be acting perfectly fine and everything's normal, and then suddenly they'll go into a rage for something really, really minor. And it kind of makes you think, gosh, what did I do? Is this my fault? And then you start blaming yourself. Habitual lying is, as it sounds, making up stories to gratify themselves or for whatever reason. It's really very bizarre when you see it, and it happens a lot. So in terms of all of these techniques, the psychological impact that we see on people that are in abusive relationships, anxiety, depression is a big one. Post-traumatic stress symptoms we see a lot. Suicidal ideation, sometimes people thinking about dying or thinking that their life isn't worth it, they feel very empty. Cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is where you have really conflicting thoughts about a particular thing. So you might be thinking, oh, I really love my partner and here's all the amazing, wonderful things they do. But then on the other hand, you're going, oh, but gosh, they're so cruel to me, and then they did this to me and they cheated on me. So how can they be this nice person? And then your mind flicks back and forth between those two extremes, and it's absolutely exhausting for the people that are experiencing it. So another psychological impact is core shame, which is the erosion of a person's identity. Basically, their core self becomes shamed through manipulation techniques, and those ones that we discussed earlier. And that core shame really needs to be worked on with a therapist, I'd say, one-on-one. And it's difficult to get that back, but it's actually a false core shame that has been produced. There's changes at cellular level as well. So there are some research to suggest that people that have been in emotionally abusive relationships have a higher likelihood of developing irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue, all sorts of health troubles, arthritis, things that are related to stress. So your body takes on that trauma and it really, really feels it. Disrupted romantic relationships often for a period afterwards, but that can be healed. Trauma bonding is a really interesting one. Trauma bonding, I know I'm speaking so fast, this is my longest vlog. Trauma bonding is where in a relationship you have extreme periods of reinforcement and then extreme periods of punishment. So they kind of appear intermittently. So you might have something that's amazing about your partner that you love and you feel so passionate about them, and then there's other things about them that really scare you and frighten you and awful things that can potentially happen. And when you pair those two together, it actually forms quite a powerful psychological addiction or a bond to that person, and it's very, very hard to imagine getting away from it. And I guess one of the things that annoys me most is hearing judgments from people that don't understand this trauma bonding process, that will go, oh, I can't believe she's gone back to him, or what sort of mother must she be if she's going back and putting her kids in that situation. So they're not actually understanding the psychological addiction that's going on for these targets. And really, when working with these relationships, you have to really look at the addictive process and work through it slowly, address the core shame and that sort of thing. I think that's about all that I'm going to say today. I could go on forever about this. It's something I'm pretty passionate about. If you know someone that you think might be in an emotionally abusive relationship, gently talk to them without judgment. Try and explore whether they'll go and talk to someone. You never know what help's available. You just have to put your hand up and actually ask for help. So yeah, something to think about. And if anything has triggered you today, there is an advice line, mental health support. It's 1-800-RESPECT. That's domestic violence helpline, but they also deal with emotional abuse. Okay, and please leave me any comments if you want me to clarify anything further. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow for day 9. Bye.